And welcome back to the Sports Avenue podcast. This is the 37th episode. I'm your host, Jimmy Simonis, and today we're going to be talking about some college football, and I have a special guest with me. His name is Colson Mueller. Colson, how you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, I'm excited to talk about some college football with you because you currently play for Ave Maria University. So let's just start off with that. Talk about the program that you play for.
Yeah, so Ave Maria University is in South Florida. It's an NAIA school. It's in the Sun Conference Division, and we are currently 2-3. We're heading into conference play right now, so these next 5 games are really important for us to get where we want to go this year. So it's going pretty well so far.
Okay, can you talk about the NAIA division, because you said it's a D2 equivalent, but what's the differences between those two conferences?
NCAA is like its own company and stuff, and NAIA is like its own separate company from NCAA. So It's like the same like competition, I would say, as D2, but it's a whole different like aspect and like sponsorships and like stuff like that.
So how about since we graduated together, which was just last year, how come you chose Ave Maria University?
Along with the aspect of the football team and coming to play here, I really like the culture of the university, and like there's a Catholic university, so it's very important to me. And also the football team is great for building young men and like character development, so it's helping me out in that aspect, and it's just a great program to be around, and the people that are here are also awesome.
How is the coaching staff different from high school? Let's start with that.
So the coaching staff's a lot different from high school because yes, they do help you with like you know how when we played offense line together, we would work on steps almost every day.
Right.
Whereas nowadays we usually just go straight into installs on the plays, so you're like expected to do that small stuff as steps on your own because like all that was taken care of in the beginning of camp. So like if you want to keep improving on your steps or keep working on it, you have to do that on your own free time. And like I just think that all around, like we had a great coaching staff at Lake Catholic, and then like here at Ave Maria, the coaching staff is even better, just helping people get to where they want to be. They always make sure that you have like your grades right. They also are very good at character development, and they're very, very knowledgeable in the football field. They know a lot about football and like helping the players and how like get better at what position that they play. Altogether, they're a lot better than high school coaches.
Mm-hmm. So how you said like also we were talking about this beforehand that the competition's much different in the sense that the game's much faster. Can you talk about how it's faster and what you had to do to become accustomed to the setting of the game?
Yeah, so playing for like the university in the first couple of games, just the whole like speed of the game is a lot faster than a high school game. Like the plays go by a lot faster. The quarters are longer, but like the tempo of the game and like on-field action is a lot faster. The players are a lot better also than high school, so like that makes blocking more difficult, and the way people play is just a lot more difficult, and it's a lot more NFL-like than high school football. I would say that's like the best words to put it.
Right.
Because like a lot of people are there trying to get their team better.
Right. So how have you, in a matter of 1 year, pretty much go from graduating high school, or let's just say finishing high school football, to now getting ready for college football, and then you just get thrown into the fire? How did you prepare for that?
The coaches told me that I had a very good camp, and that's why I was thrown into the fire. So I practiced very well during that time, and right now I'm kind of falling off, and because with school starting stuff, it's a lot more difficult to focus on a lot more things. But I'm getting back to where I was before during camp. So they said my fundamentals and stuff are right where it needs to be, and getting thrown in the fire, it's really different because I've known that high school playbook for 4 years, whereas now I know this playbook for maybe a month and a half. So getting thrown in there, it's not an excuse, but not knowing exactly everything that a senior may know or a junior, but with the game experience, and it's just a whole new aspect of schemes and different techniques that you got to use to be able to get done what you need to get done.
What are the differences between a high school playbook and a college playbook? Because obviously it has to be much different in the sense it's probably more complex, no?
Yeah, it's a lot more complex with the with just the whole play calls and the different things that you can do with each play, and about how many different options there are, and about how much more important it is for certain players to do the right, down to the wire certain thing on each play for the play to go right, or else it won't break big or do the certain aspects. So it's a lot more complex than a high school playbook because those are pretty simple, and just the amount of plays that are in also.
Did anyone help you in memorizing the playbook, or what did you do to get in that month and a half ready to step on the field come week one?
What I did was I just, every night before I went to bed, because we had camp for about 20 days before the season started. I mean, the school year started. So I had about every night to look over the playbook. So what I would do is I'd go through every call that I would make on the play for guard and center, and then I would also do every play about twice, and I would work through that, and then also just talking with like the older guys on asking them what I should do on a certain play, or in meetings asking questions to the coach about what I should do on each play also.
So, how did you adjust from your home to pretty much going from another state, getting ready to play, be able to start week one, and just being able to manage all those different responsibilities and living on your own? And along now, you said with school, that's a lot of responsibilities for you who just moved away from your home. How did you mentally prepare yourself to deal with all these challenges?
Yeah, so it's tough, but so my parents also moved to Florida. So we were down here about 2 weeks before I was here to report to camp. So it was nice being able to be down here for those 2 weeks before, because I was able to get used to the weather and running outside in it, because it's a lot more humid and hot down here. Also, like taking on football, it was nice because like I've always loved football. It's the thing that I've done my entire life, and then like adding the aspect of like being down here, living on your own with a bunch of different people, meeting a lot of new friends and stuff. I think that like the biggest thing is meeting the right people that I met while I'm down here to help support me to get what I need to do to get done. Because if I'm ever down on myself, I know that someone's there to pick me up and what I need to do, whether it be school or football.
All right, yeah. So you said that you love football. Can you explain why you love football and why you give that commitment to it?
Well, I've been playing football since I was in the second grade, so I've been playing for a large part of my life, and it's been something that I've done every fall, and I am in love with the NFL football. I watch the Pittsburgh Steelers all the time. I know that you don't like me because of that, but yeah, I just like I don't know. I just love the game. I love the physicality. I love you. You just have. It's a game that's like different than every other game because you need all 11 people to do their job on the field. Like it's great when a quarterback can like break tackles and stuff, and then like throw the ball downfield. But like if the receiver runs the wrong route or is getting covered by the cornerback, like it's not good. So I think it's just like a whole team game, and it really brings people together. And I think not just the team together, but also the fans together, which is I think is a big aspect of football.
So, what would you say is like the most pivotal moment in, I guess, your football career that really made you love the sport as it is today?
I would probably say, oh, that's a really good question. Probably the most pivotal moment that I've had in my football career would be junior year of high school when it was camp before the season started, and I was a junior and they had someone above me in the position, and I talked to my coach. I was like, Coach, I can play this position a lot better than he can. Give me the chance to show him. And like once I did that, I just knew that it's either ride or die. Like I show out now and I play good, or I look like a fool for saying that I can play this position. And I just like knew right then and there, like this is like why I've played football my whole life. Like getting to that spot, and then now that translates to me playing for a university, whether that be second team or first team. So I'm very excited about that.
That's a good story. Glad. Thank you for sharing that. What was the recruiting process like? Because you did start junior year and senior year, so you were able to have 2 years of playing time. So, what was the recruiting process like for you?
Well, actually, it's kind of like a funny story. So I originally thought I did not want to play college football because I wanted to focus more on my academics and stuff. And then, like nearing the end of senior football season, I was just like, I can't be done with football. And I was like talking to a couple coaches at certain schools and stuff. But once I sent my film I came for a visit at Ave Maria, just like look at the school, and then I talked to the football coach, and like since then, that was the spring of my junior year. So I was texting him every now and then, and then comes after senior football season, I texted them, said, "Hey, here's my film and stuff," and then they offered me, and I was just like, yeah, "This is where I want to be because this is like the best place for me to be right now." So
Also,
it was a kind of long and lengthy process of me deciding what I wanted to do, and then I finally realized that football is a big part of my life, and I don't think I could be in college without playing football.
you also said you enrolled to ROTC, correct?
I was planning on applying for that, which I did, but I did not get accepted to that. But I think I still would have chose football over that.
Okay, so you had to choose one or the other. You had no. There was.
Well, I didn't get accepted for it, so like it made the choice for football a lot easier. But I
Okay.
still think I would have picked football over ROTC.
Okay, so they wouldn't allow you to play football while being in ROTC.
Well, at the university I'm at, they don't have ROTC, so I
Okay.
wouldn't be able to do both. And I don't. I bet there are people that do both, but I think that would be very difficult to be able to be a college student while also doing ROTC and being a football player.
Okay, so ROTC didn't accept you. That the decision to go to Ave Maria was that much easier because you also knew that okay, I can just go. I can already go there because I want to go there.
Yeah,
Okay, so what would you say is your favorite thing about playing football?
I think it goes back to the team aspect of being with a bunch of people my age or a couple years older, a couple years younger. They all have the same goal in mind, is that's to win the division and then win the conference and then hopefully win a national championship. So that's the same goal, and like that's what I strive for. We didn't get it in high school, and like I really want to get it in college because I feel like that'd be just a great experience to have. And I just think the drive to win and have fun and just go out and play the game is what's the biggest thing I love.
And you said you started a few games for Ave Maria earlier in the season. Can you talk about those experiences and what it was like just going out there, pretty much blindfolded into the madhouse?
Yeah. So I wouldn't say like exactly blindfolded because like my coach is really supporting me and like getting me in and stuff. And
Right.
so yeah, I started the first 3 games and then they changed the rotation up a little bit. So I'm more of like going in for people to relieve them and stuff. And I just like the experience was amazing. Just being able to play football again after I originally thought I wasn't going to play, and I was just out there and I was just like, I love this. Playing against 2 huge games, we lost our first game in overtime and then we lost. I mean, we won our second game by 2 points. So like they were really close games, and it was a lot to be able to go out there and play and like be out there, and like the speed was a lot faster, and that's like where like that whole just speed being faster and stuff. So when I was out there, I was like, holy crap, this is a I got to buck up. It's a lot different than high school football.
So yeah, so how did you like I know I asked this before, but how did you train yourself to become faster? Was it just what was like your fitness template basically of how did you get to where you needed to be to play?
Just doing better in practice over those games that I've been playing in, and then just like the practice tempo, having it a lot higher, and like during drills, having the practice tempo a lot higher, and also like do it like when we did conditioning drills, I make sure I push myself instead of trying to be like just be like being comfortable. I push myself to do a lot better than I thought I would be able to do, so that way I could be more in shape. But mostly like the practice tempo was a lot higher.
So you played right tackle in high school. So
Yeah. I played right tackle and then right guard the end of senior year.
yeah, so how did you adjust yourself to go from playing right tackle in high school and a little bit of right guard to going to play both guard positions?
Well, so junior year I played right tackle. Senior year I played right tackle for the first 4 games, and then Coach Nas said he wanted me to be a guard because I'm bigger. So I went to guard, but I still played tackle when our starting tackle got hurt. So I would like still go back and forth between the two. But translating that to college is just knowing the playbook and like paying attention in camp when coach was going over the steps for what I need to do really helped me being able to be adaptive to both guard positions. But like if you know one of the guards, you should know the other flip flop of calls.
What would you say are the main responsibilities for a guard?
I would say it's like on pass protection, it's your gap, and then run blocking, it's making sure you have your guy take the right steps so that you can block the guy for the running back to make the right read and cut off you. So it's just making sure you do the job that's in the playbook for you.
Right. So would you say Ave Maria is more of a passing team or running team, or is you guys balanced?
Yeah, I'd say we're more balanced.
So you played Division One school Jacksonville. How did that? I know we talked about this beforehand, but how did that game compare to some of the other games you played in?
That game was a lot. Those players at Jacksonville were a lot stronger than any of the teams that we played previous to them, and they were just a more fundamentally sound football team than any of the teams that we already played. So that game was a lot tougher than any of the other games, and like they were, you could tell that they were a very disciplined team in what they did and how they played. So it was a really good experience. Like they weren't like a huge D1 team, but they were still a Division 1 team. They had the strength, they had the size.
So for the time you've been at Ave Maria playing football, what's been like the weirdest thing that's been for you to trying to change or adapt to your new environment?
Um, I would probably say weather's a big part of that, but also just like being down here, living on my own, uh, being responsible for myself, going to classes also, along with going to meetings on the daily, lifting when we have them, and in practice. it's a lot to do, and then also getting nap time in because nap time is very important to me.
Yeah, I hear you. I know people talk about how pretty much playing college football or playing a collegiate sport and going to class is pretty much your full time job. How do you balance all of that? Because you said it, that's a lot to put on your plate. How do you as a person balance all that mentally and physically?
Like I said before, taking naps to mentally and physically rejuvenate yourself in a sense, and then also having like a set schedule of when you're gonna do certain things, such as when you're gonna go to lifting on the when the team holds it, when you have meetings a certain time in the day, and then studying, you're gonna have to set aside a time to study, either during the morning, afternoon, or evening. So you just have to set aside time to be able to get everything done. But like practice and lifting and stuff is already set schedules. Then after that, you set the extra time for you to study your playbook and watch your own film, and then you also set aside the time to study and get in the books and do your homework and stuff.
All right. Well, I think we're gonna wrap up that part for college football. So I know we want to talk about some NFL football, and I know your Steelers are not doing too bad, but they're not looking too great either. So how do you feel about the Steelers right now?
I think the Steelers they look good in the loss against the Ravens. They've looked good. They've looked bad and good this year. I think that defense has really been keeping the team up with the interceptions and stuff. They just need to work on a couple things getting that done. Yeah, but Steelers defense creates a lot of turnovers that pick up of Mika Fitzpatrick. And I think the offense, obviously without Ben Roethlisberger, loses a huge pivotal point. I think that Mason Rudolph, when he gets healthy, he's a capable QB. He's good at placing the ball where it needs to go. And we have the pieces around him in our wide receiver core now and our tight end and our running back. So we just need to get going.
Yeah, you touched on Minka Fitzpatrick. Do you think that first round pick's going to come back to haunt you, or to come haunt back the Steelers because they could use that to find, or do you think Mason Rudolph's the answer? Because they could use that first round pick next year to find that quarterback possibly, or you could use it to bolster up the receiving core or the line, or even in the secondary.
Yeah, so I was actually thinking about that while watching the game when I was with my parents the other day. So when I was watching the game, I was like, is Mason Rudolph really the answer for the Steelers? And when I was watching him play, I was like, he looks like a natural out there. Obviously he doesn't have the talent of Big Ben or Aaron Rodgers or Pat Mahomes, but that is his third NFL start. So I think that the first round pick will haunt the Steelers in the sense that they could use it on a different player, but I think that it was used in a situation that we needed a player now because Sean Davis was placed on IR and we needed a safety. So I think that was a really big and good move for the Steelers to have.
What do you think the biggest hole is in Pittsburgh right now? Because I like I said it before, I like Juju, but I don't think he's the it guy. He's not that true number one. I think he's a great number two, but again, when they played Baltimore, that was a great pass by Hodges, and Humphrey comes in with that clean smack and it gives Ravens the ball and they score and win the game.
Yeah, I think Juju's a great player, and I think that he's an awesome person too. He has such a good personality on social media and just in person. You can see it everywhere. He's had two big fumbles, like you just said. It was a good pass by Devin Hodges. He turned and got it smacked out. I think that he should have covered the ball more because you could see throughout that whole game the Ravens were punching at the ball, trying to rip it out. So they knew that was a problem in the receiver core, and they finally got it out in the biggest time it happened. But Juju, I think he could be the number one. I just think it's a matter of getting pieces around him because I think they're going to start trying to double cover Juju more once he starts getting open more. And then that opens up for Deontay Johnson and James Washington and such.
Do you think the receiving core is good enough, or do you think they need to add another piece or two?
I think that we're good in the sense of Juju and Deontay. James Washington is there. I just think that he needs more exposure to game time and stuff because he's shown good flashes of play, but it's hit and miss with him. So I feel like we could add another good receiver in there. We have a speedster, Johnny Holton, who's pretty good at beating people down deep. I just haven't seen him route run yet, so I think that they could add a couple more pieces to it. They picked up Vanette, the tight end from Seattle. They traded I think a fifth round for him, so don't quote me on that though. But that's another part of a tight end behind Vance McDonald. So that's also in the passing game. I know they're not receivers, but it's still a big part.
So if you could do one thing for the Steelers, what would you want to bring in? What would you want to change? Draft anything?
I would like to have Ben Roethlisberger back.
um,
that'd be a big thing. But I don't really see like a big dire thing that we need other than obviously our franchise quarterback not being there. But I think that once Mason Rudolph gets more game time and exposure, he'll be good. But obviously, like if you could draft another Ben Roethlisberger or even find a Pat Mahomes in the draft, that'd be a big thing to have. You know.
so how do you feel about Mike Tomlin as your head coach? Do you think he's on the hot seat? Do you think he should stay? Let alone because I think that the team was able. I think when I looked at this team, I thought it was going to compete, but at the same time, it's shown glimpses where it could look good, but at the same time, it's also had its moments where it's like this team just it scares you because they look much worse than what they should be.
Yeah, I don't think that. I mean, I know a lot of people say he is, but personally, in my opinion, I do not think that he's on the hot seat. I think that the Steelers like having long-term coaches, and I think Mike Tomlin is that coach. He's not had a losing season yet. He has had 500 season, I know that, but yeah, I just think that it's the fact of injuries, and I think that it might have took a mental toll on the players seeing their starting quarterback get hurt. But I think in the Ravens game, you could see the Steelers rally behind Mason Rudolph, and then especially after he got hurt, they rallied behind Devlin Hodges, who actually had like pretty good game when he came in. So I think that Mike Tomlin is doing the best that he could, even though he could do I think he could do a couple things different, but we don't have to touch on that.
Besides the Steelers, or do you have any teams that that you like or kind of like enjoy watching?
I enjoy watching the Browns. Since I lived up there in Northeast Ohio, I've been a diehard Steelers for my whole life because my father's from Pittsburgh. But living in Cleveland, I always said that I root for the Browns as long as they're not playing the Steelers. So I like watching them play, and that was I didn't watch the whole game, but I did watch the highlights today, and that was a kind of crazy game. I especially liked the flag plant by Joey Bosa.
Nick Bosa. Yeah, I saw that.
That was pretty funny. And then I also like watching the Chiefs. I like Tyreek Hill and I like Pat Mahomes, so that's always a fun team to watch.
Oh, so have you been keeping tabs at college football at all, or D1?
I've never really been a big college football person, but on Saturdays sometimes the guys and I will watch if we're not doing something.
Mm-hmm.
So I still Ohio State's still my number one team. A lot of people down here are University of Miami, and then also Florida Gator fans. So they're all like, "Why are you a Ohio State fan?" I'm like, "Because I lived in Ohio."
Right. There's not much else besides Ohio State football that's been relevant
Yeah.
at least. So okay, who's your favorite football player of all time?
Of all time, definitely Troy Polamalu. I remember as a little kid, I would always put on my Troy Polamalu jersey and I would run around the yard playing football with my friends, acting like Troy Polamalu, just because I think that he was a great player and just everything that he brought to the defense. And even though he was a very humble person, you could tell that he was very, very aggressive on the field.
All right, I would agree with that. I think Troy Polamalu is one of those rare guys from the Steelers that, you would think attitude-wise, he wasn't a killer, but at the same time, he was so aggressive and he was so skilled. I remember always that fingertip catch against the Chargers in the snow.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there that's something that only a few guys in the league ever could do.
And that's usually the play that people think about when someone says or mentions Troy Polamalu. That's the biggest play that people think about because that's the play that flashed through my head when you said favorite player. So.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, and not to mention, him jumping over the center on a silent count.
He was. I think that honestly, he might have been the best player at timing up the snap because he was insane at that.
I was just gonna say, when people talk about Myles Garrett getting that great first step, and I can just see Troy Polamalu just hurdling the center and tackling the quarterback before the ball's even snapped.
Yeah, he's awesome. He was a great player.
So how about your favorite non-Steeler player of all time?
I mean, he's not a Steeler now, but Antonio Brown was one of my favorite players until the events of this past year. He was up there. I have an autograph of him and everything. He was up there. Yeah, but now he's plummeted back down to the very bottom of the crop. But I think that it might be. I really appreciate Myles Garrett and how funny he is. he's not the same personality as Juju, but you can tell that he's a fun and loving and caring guy. So I think that's awesome, and he's also a great player. I think that he might be up there. And then also, I like Pat Mahomes too. He's also a great player. I did like Ray Lewis a lot, and I like Ray Lewis.
All right, Colson. I just want to before we finish this off. Do you have anything else you want to say before, or how can we watch, or how can people watch you guys play Ave Maria?
So if you go to the Ave Maria football website, there's a live stream on there. Or if you look at our schedule and we're playing an away, usually the team that we're playing also has a live stream. So like if you just look up Ave Maria football and you look it up, there should be a live stream link for you guys to watch. And if you end up watching, you could also look at the roster and see that I'm number 76, and also see that my fellow teammates and their numbers and stuff. So if you want to look at
All right, Colson. I just want to just say before we wrap up, thank you for joining. It was a blast to talk to you, or at least catching up with you, at least because we graduated high school together. So again, thank you for joining, and again, best of luck going forward, and hopefully we'll bring you back on the show and talk some more football as time comes around. But yeah, thank you, man. I really appreciate you taking the time to join the show.
Thank you for having me, and I really hope that the podcast takes off for you because I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, again, everyone that joins the show, it's just another step with progress. And like I said, I really appreciate taking the time. And in a couple minutes, you have to go to your football meeting, so I'll leave you at that. So, guys, that's been the 37th episode of Sports Avenue. If you would like to join, just send me an email, sportsav440@gmail.com if you would like to join. Follow all social media. I'll put that in the description below. I'll also put Colson's social media in the description below because, he deserves some loving. Yeah. So, guys, thank you for listening to the podcast. Tune in next week, or, come next week. We're going to have another guest on the show. It's going to be a fun time. Stay tuned, everyone, and have a great week.